Hey everybody, I'm out here at Bayou Farm and Apiary in Tylertown, Mississippi with Troy and his wife Jan, who's kindly rustling around our 5 wildlings that are back there. So I came down here because when I was certified as a permaculture instructor, I offered up a free consultation online, and Troy put in for it and won one of those consultations. So I'm down here at his apiary to talk to him about permaculture design and what he's interested at here on the farm. So one thing, Troy, it's interesting about you guys is you're the only certified naturally grown bee apiary in the state of Mississippi. Yep. So that kind of already speaks to your interest about doing things in a more sustainable sort of way and
Absolutely.
Staying away from chemicals and all those sort of things.
Absolutely.
But what got you interested in permaculture or thinking about more than just the bees?
Well, really, this all started back in Hurricane Katrina. We really didn't have much damage to our house, but the city was wrecked, the infrastructure was wrecked, there was no food, there was no grocery stores, there was no electricity, and we were getting our food off the back of a deuce and a half from the National Guard, bags of ice and case of MREs. And that went on for a couple of months, and I talked to my wife and I said, this life that we live is not as promised as everybody thinks it is, that it could be switched off just like that in a second, and I don't ever want to be in this position again. And here we are 10 years later, and we're out here, and we're just trying to live simply and be more self-sustainable, because I don't want to really have to count on anybody, because the help could not be there sometime, and that's important for me to be able to take care of my family and stuff. So
well, that's awesome. So you took me for a tour around your property. We already saw several wild edibles around the property. You've already got a lot going on here. You've already got a little garden that you've started up. You've already got chickens producing eggs. You've already grown out some pigs that you served to me for lunch today. It was absolutely delicious.
Awesome.
And of course, all the honey and all the other products that you're creating off of your beehive. So there's a lot that's already taken place. And one thing that we talked about was part of your interest is to make sure that while your bees could go off and get a very large radius food from anywhere, you want to still make sure that your property is still a safe haven for them, and they've still got a lot of stuff here on the property as well.
Definitely.
So now, after having this consultation here, I'll take this information back to my place and design the property for you and say, hey, here's what I think's the best place to put it, here's why, and we can kind of shoot some things back and forth on that, and because it's always possible for us to spend a couple hours together, but me still walk away with not exactly what you were intending, so I got the wrong impression. So it's always good to have a back and forth and not just a one-time conversation, but a real good conversation back and forth a few times. So that's where we're going to go from here, and I will get back with you and provide you a little write-up about our trip out here, a map that I've drawn up on how I see some of the future structures, some things that you want to have but that you don't currently have, is like a dedicated honey house, a dedicated greenhouse, and a couple other things like that. So we want to make sure that we put those structures on the property where it makes the most sense. We also want to selectively clear some trees out so you can do things like solar panels in the future, and what my thoughts are on how that should work out. But truth is, you're really on the road already, and you're already thinking about things in the right way, and I think that your certified naturally grown certification really goes along and speaks to that. That you've already got that kind of mindset in place, if you will. So if you guys want to follow along with Troy, make sure that you check out his Facebook page. I think that's probably where you're best known, is the Facebook group Bees and Beaks. And do you know the URL off the top of your head, or?
I don't, but if you just search bees & beaks, it'll come right up.
And for all those that are brand new, what's beaks?
Beak is short for beekeeper or bee geek.
Okay.
Is I guess you could call it too. I consider myself a bee geek.
There you go. So check out Bees and Beaks. Troy's on there all the time sharing good information, and there's everybody on there, from the person just being interested in getting into bees to the person that's been doing it for years and years, and from what I've seen, all over the world.
All over the world.
Yeah.
We've got guys from the Middle East, from all over Europe. I've got some members from Asia. They all have different equipment and different ideas and different techniques, and it's really awesome to see some of the stuff that they do and how they're working it. We just talked to a guy in Iran the other day And he was telling us how great their bees are doing over there. They don't really have the disease problems that we have over here, and it's really great to compare notes on that kind of scale. So
cool.
It helps. It's beneficial.
All right. Well, sir, it's been a pleasure to meet you. And well, we met previously at some events, but to really get to know you today and spend some time, and I appreciated it. And I'll get back to you just as soon as we can.
Cool. I appreciate it.
If y'all have got any questions or comments, leave them down below. I'll leave a link to the Facebook group for Bees and Beaks in the description as well to help you try to find it a little easier. If you've got any questions for Troy, if you want to head over to the Facebook group, or if you've got one specifically about the permaculture design for his property, leave that here and I'll get them over to him separately, and so we don't clutter up Bees and Beaks with permaculture questions. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you next time.